3rd, 2026. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from February 17th.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second, other discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Item number 2. The number 5505 Fawn River 1 Alva Carpenter open grade.
It's actually 505.
500. What's that? Yeah, I just read the house. All right, we have Chad Janik and David Council, design engineer, proposal for Crooked Lake Inflow Project. Anything like to say on this, Jim, before we start?
I don't think so. I think we all got emails, and so yeah, let's let Mr. Chad do his thing. I know Chad's really passionate about what he where he's at and what he does. So go ahead, Chad.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Chad Janik. I'm from the Crooked Lake Association. Today I have invited our engineer for this project, Steuben Council. On that, we've invited, and we have represented today 4 DNR members that we wanted to be here today for this overview. This project has been about 2 years I've worked on. The last time I was up here, I didn't have gray hair in my beard, so it's been a while since I've been back to talk to you guys. Today we're here for the proposal for a sediment forebay to go to the Carpenter Drain leading in over by the lake. In some of the engineering pictures and the surveying, we have pictures in that area of the inflow where the culvert pipe comes in. There is high levels of sediment that is building up over the past 10 years that I've lived here. I used to actually fish into that little inlet. Now it's unfishable for the 10 years that I've been here. So what we are preparing here today is, I'm sure, we sent out all the engineering surveys and everything. I hope you guys had plenty of time for the overview. I think I sent it out over 3 weeks ago. So I hope you guys had plenty of time to look it over. Basically, we are presenting this for the lake. Basically, the lake ecology for our lake, the keeping the sediment out, E. coli, different other pollutants and trash. We're not only doing this for the ecology of the lake, we're doing this for the lake residents, and this is also good, for the actual people the residents that use the beach over by the lake. I do know on certain years, the beach on average, we're almost closed about 2 times a year because of E. coli. With this design that we have here presented to this board, we feel and believe very strongly that this would help not only just for the lake, but it would also help for the public that uses that beach. So we presented this here today to you. I guess basically kind of going further, is there any questions from this board on this presentation?
On your design here, I see you got it on both the inlet side of the drive and the exit side. Tell me a little bit how you think this is going to slow down the E. coli from entering the Crooked Lake.
Can I invite David Council to speak over that, please? Thank you.
Good afternoon. Steuben Council with my engineer, licensed civil engineer in Indiana. So the goal of this project is really twofold. It's one, to appropriately size the culvert. Currently, there's a pipe culvert that's high enough that it's not fish passable, and it's undersized for the location and the use. And then the other goal of the project is the forebay to trap sediment. The goal with trapping the sediment is that it can be maintained in a single place. So over time, the sediment can be removed from a small forebay that's accessible. So we've got a mock-up here. We've done so far just schematic level designs, replacing the culvert with a box culvert, which would be fish passable, look like rock check dams, creating a impasse for sediment while still allowing fish movement through that. through that space. And so as the sediment gets trapped, the E. coli and its nutrients would also get trapped is the idea there. But throughout the design, development, and construction documents, our plan is to work directly with IDEM, DNR, Corps of Engineers to use some of the best practices that maybe they've learned over the years to also provide plants, viral remediation, or anything that we can to also metabolize or the coli. So just keep it from getting out into the lake.
I guess my question is, you're putting it that close to the lake, why wouldn't we do that further upstream? Or is there potential for contaminant further upstream that you're trying to also catch it?
We're not exactly sure where the contaminant origin is. At this location, we know that there's heavy sediment that comes through and it's already deposited here. So that was more or less the task. But that's a good question.
So with your culvert, I assume it's size large enough to handle the influx in the large rains events and like that.
Correct.
Was it with your entrapment, sometimes in those large rain events, doesn't that also pick up that sediment that's settling in the E. coli and just wash that on into the lake at that point?
Yeah, so the upsized culvert or box culvert would have a much lower flow velocity than the current pipe that's there. So that in itself would also slow down the energy and allow for settling more appropriately. You can also see we have a thicker line on that drawing showing the proposed kind of outline of the forebay, which is slightly wider than what's there already. So we would also be upsizing that forebay area, which the wider and the deeper it goes, the less energy you're going to have there.
So these outcroppings of rocks that you have are all submerged. These are not above surface sites.
The intent is they would go to about the normal water level, so that they would come up to right about the surface.
At the normal.
Yep, at the normal water level. Access would be from, it's not shown on that drawing, the access would be from the parking lot for excavation, maintenance, to come in and remove sediment as needed over the years.
So if I may, I know I've performed a lot of maintenance upstream. I know the highway department has too. Chip put in the highway superintendent, engineer rather, put in some filtering and device and stuff. I do realize that the beach has been shut down. In fact, one time it was shut down about 3 times, I think, in 1 year. Now, the last several years, we have not had the beach shut down. So, but we still feel, you guys still feel that it's still high in E. coli, or, I mean, please make it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't have any particular opinion on that because we're designing the forebay and the culvert, but so we haven't done any environmental testing on the water. That would be other folks.
Yeah, it's just the last 2 years not having to shut down the beach. We really haven't had high amounts of rain, especially in the springtime. I think Scott could also speak to that too, is when we have those high levels of rain coming in, and then that sediment that's already trapped there you start to get that flow, and it just, the E. coli just comes right back alive. And with it being trapped in there, it can last for a very long time. It can even last over the winter.
Yeah. So I kind of came into this at the tail end of the cleaning of the channel.
This has nothing to do with it.
Well, there's still, when we were talking about E. coli though, too, from the,
This is a totally different source. This comes off 69.
correct, but it's still the Elva Carpenter ditch where it comes through too, that we did some preventative maintenance too.
Well, the channel is actually where we dredge is right
Correct.
off.
Correct. So I apologize if I wasn't clear on that. I guess I was referring to that way because they both inlet into first basin, if you will. So,
Yeah, but they're the length of the beach apart. One's one side of the beach, one's for the other side of the beach.
I guess could argue that. E. coli getting in, I would still say would contaminate the entire lake.
So I guess the question is, obviously, all this engineering and what's going in the lake, what does that do for us? What we're actually here for is our drainage and our ditch. Is that,
There is one notable comment. That part of Alva Carpenter is not assessed. It has
Oh,
never
that's
been part of the actual watershed. The watershed actually ends on the other side of 69, and well, 200 basically. So that is all basically going to be dry dock and the county property, should you want to begin assessing that for any kind of maintenance. Because currently it doesn't bring in any funding. You can see where the ridge line just kind of stops on the other side.
At one time, it used to be all county property, that's why it was never assessed.
Everybody still has to pay drainage tax. But,
So we're
yeah,
gonna
that
pay
time.
ourselves, yeah.
we do?
We actually filed paper with you guys about 3 years ago to
To extend the watershed, yeah, but it didn't go over that far.
So the other primary goal of this project is to appropriately size that culvert and to make it fish passable. So right now, when we did our assessment, we found signs of that culvert basically blocking enough of the water flow that the wetland and stream upstream would fill up so high it would go over the drive that's located at this culvert location. So I would say there's definitely a long-term stability issue to be approached here with that just in flow capacity. It looks like at one point, perhaps the pipe was larger and then it was lined and reduced as well. So that may have also contributed to a reduction of flow through that culvert. But there's definitely signs of overtopping over the road. And eventually that will, that little land bridge will fail.
Right, then if you scan back, keep going south and east. Or across the 69, they just redone that underneath 69, I believe, here in this last year.
Yes.
And if you go on this open ditch here, that comes all from the Northwood area, all that drains through there, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
It comes from.
It's center lake.
it comes from Center Lake.
So I believe it's hydraulically connected.
Got that far.
We haven't investigated the details of that connection, but we kind of stopped our assessment at the highway if you look on our PDF, but I do believe it connects this.
So what comes from Northwood Addition goes into the channel.
Comes from Center Lake and it comes from. Booth Lake.
Well, I'm talking what goes in there by Rapid Rental. That heads,
Yeah, that comes
picks
from,
up some of that from that direction.
comes from Center Lake and then goes along the road and then over.
Yeah, it's hard to say what makes it into the pipes going under 69. Or back. You know, it's like, I would take the analysis, and the modeling analysis. So
Are you confident that the culvert that you're proposing will handle whatever that comes down that ditch right now?
yeah, I mean, basically it's providing something like 6 times the flow of the current culvert. Going from a 30-inch steel pipe or corrugated metal pipe to a 12x6 box culvert.
So I got.
Yeah, so your C200 drawing. Yeah. That's showing concept B, is that correct?
What's the question?
So you have two items, you have concept A, concept B here. So is that particular drawing at C200, is that showing concept B with the full?
Can you point to where you're seeing concept A and B? Or is that a different document? Oh, okay, that's the original assessment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar. Yeah, it's similar to that concept.
That concept, okay.
This was done after a survey was performed, after the environmental assessment for the wetland delineation was performed. So I would go by this latest schematic design.
It just the description of that seemed to most closely resemble a drawing, so.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's seemed to be the most appropriate concept to move forward with. I think the goal here really is that the Lake Association would like to move forward with the project, it being on county property. And, you know, with agreement, obviously, to work through everything with IDNR, IDEM, Corps of Engineers as required to keep sediment from coming out into the lake. By nature of doing, keeping coal life from spreading, there's probably some other things we can incorporate here in the design. We'd like to collaborate with IDEM on to reduce that E. coli load. You know, I think secondly, the goal would be to see if there's any county support in various ways to support a project like this, whether it be financially or long-term maintenance, something like that. I don't know what's all been discussed.
As you presented on your drawing here, so the maintenance would just basically involve nothing more than dredging or vacuuming out debris that settles within the lakeside, I guess we would call it, correct?
Correct. Yeah. And
Would that
idea is to make it-
additionally require a permit each time then you went to dredge that?
not for maintenance. Yeah. Unless,
So it would be, we don't have the ability under Lake Preservation Act to extend or issue any indefinite permits. So permits are good for 2 years. If you're dredging more than every 2 years, you have to get a permit on that.
even if the, okay. I believe right now, this is a legal drain and the culvert is county owned, maintained. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's all county property.
It's all county property,
So, Chad, in the past, when the sediment's been removed, who does that?
I wasn't around when.
It does.
That's happened now.
Other than
That one,
the channel, maybe.
that one's never actually been maintained, the outlet.
Okay, yeah,
So we had to get a lot of permits to dredge the Parkside Channel. and we're gonna get a layer grant for that, but we never have done anything to maintain Alba Carpenter because it's never been on maintenance.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would recommend a long-term maintenance schedule, no matter what the scope of work ends up being. I would say there is a safety risk as well to that large buildup of organic material. Especially children can walk through there and get stuck. Their feet can get stuck and kind of sink down into the muck. So that's another benefit to safety of the public for being able to contain that sediment. So a lot of organic matter coming up from the stream.
And then that'd be its own separate maintenance unit, you couldn't tie it in with the.
It would need to be its own, we'd have to have a public hearing
Right.
either way. It makes it easier if we just make it a smaller one with Alba Carpenter, because then you only got a few landowners, you got the county, and you got Terry from Dry Dock, and
Right.
maybe one or two other ones that would have to pay a maintenance fee in order to maintain that sediment trap. What you think, based on the volume of sand or sediment that you think is gonna come in there, how often do you think it would need to be cleaned out?
Probably once every 5 years, 3 to 5 years, I would say.
And okay, so figure permits, I don't know if that's good raise, was it $100 for lake preservation? Per shot, wouldn't have to probably bring in a whole lot.
Right.
Just get probably a small piece of equipment, I imagine, to get in there and clean that out, we just gotta haul it.
And I'm just stating that based on the buildup of sand and organic material. If there's other best practices for removing it more often or something like that due to bacterial loads, then that would also need to be considered.
The association could work with you guys. We would be willing to help also pay for the permits for that. To have that cleaned
Out of
out.
the Parkside Channel,
No, out of what is right here, to remove the sediment, we'd be willing to take part in it.
what do you mean, Country Lake Association?
Right, so I have another question,
They're
Yeah.
they're down a lot of stuff.
and I have no trouble with
So she probably.
your design or what you're trying to achieve here, which will work, but and it might not be as much for you as it might be for everybody that's proposing this. So why aren't we looking at trapping this sediment before it gets to the lake further upstream than we do right at the lake? To further keep that E. coli and stuff, contaminants further away, so it's not as easy to pick them up.
Yeah, I could only speak to the, maybe the constraints around doing that. As far as the reason, I don't know, but there is wetland, sensitive wetland environmental area along this whole floodway, going pretty far up. So if you did something, it would, I would recommend doing before it becomes a sensitive wetland area. And you can, the NWI map, I think, is pretty good for this. It might go, a good 500 feet up the stream to where they consider it, at least on the NWI map, wetland. And that's in that.
It's all in that wooded area.
Yeah, that's in the more in-depth report that Mr. Howard.
Greg, can you put on the area? Let's go up there a little bit.
Yeah, ideally something between the existing culvert, that comes off of that on-ramp, under the on-ramp, and then between there and west 175th. In there is probably the last opportunity to get to that flow before it becomes a natural wooded stream with quite a bit of slope as well. There's quite a bit of slope between 75 to the west.
It falls down pretty quick.
And then it flattens out kind of around to where the corner of that parcel is. Yep, right there. That's about where I would say the wetland limits are as well.
You already have anything to add to this?
Other comments?
I mean, I'm just from the fish and wildlife side, so I can't speak to the hydrology, but it would be a better design for fish passage than what's there currently. I also can't speak to what they were talking about with fish levels and that specific inlet, but the box culvert would be preferable from that standpoint.
I mean, I think certainly what you have proposed here is better than what's there now. Hydraulically, it's quite a lot larger. So I don't think we have any issues with regards to floodway capacity or anything.
And you don't think we're having any issues down the road with, permits cleaning it and all that stuff? We'll be good.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think this would be a perfect place to dredge anyway now, being right at the end. See any issues with future.
So they're dredging done prior, as this is constructed, to get it to a point where this will work for a while.
I haven't personally been down there for quite some time. I know at one time Frank Charlton had said something about that outlet right there really starting to fill up with sand, and thought maybe they could piggyback it when we did Parkside Channel to maybe clean out that at the same time. But we couldn't extend the permits at that time, and that's when they passed. So that did not get done. So it's my understanding that it has been filling in with sediment for quite some time. I think there's more of a beach area there now than there used to be.
It's almost created its own four-bench or not. Where the velocity disperses, it just kind of has created an oval. But so there was quite a bit of removal with the construction of the.
So your ask right now is for permissions, obviously. And then in the future, if we already set up, make this into a maintenance unit, that we could use that for future maintenance.
I don't think it would take that much that you would need to collect if it only needs to be cleaned out every 5 years
Right.
or so.
Yeah.
I mean.
I think that's, speaking for you guys, but I think that might be the way to go with it, since there's other colors that.
Well, your first
Another
initial,
benefit at acres.
Yes.
Highway would also end up having to pay some of that, the state.
I would think your first initial clean would be fairly expensive compared to a maintenance every 5 years of long and saying that.
That'd be part of the project, given that.
We would want to confirm and put together an operations and with the final construction documents.
And then construction, everything will be paid for by the Cricket League Association, but
Right now, we are taking care of the engineering of this, so the full price of that. We will be looking into grants. We have a list of grants that if this gets approved and move forward, that we could apply for. It is a county regulated ditch. We were hoping for some assistance, maybe on the implication of putting in the box culvert. I've been working on this project for over 2 years, and I had a lot of time. We've had a lot of money into this project. And I think it would be helpful for the county to also help with some funding for this project.
purchase the box.
It's a county road.
It's the bigger where it came from. It's the bigger where it came from.
is it?
Has a county road numbering on it. How's that?
Yeah, it would be ours.
It's definitely our road, but is it an actual county road? What's this? Or is it private? Because it is owned by county.
Yeah.
And we can actually deed it off, so it can't be used 365 days a year.
Let's have a gate there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually listed as county road.
Yeah. Hey, Jim, I think that's something maybe we have a chip and see what they can possibly do for us if we delay with our equipment, if it's set block or, something that, kind of maybe get a plan going. Whatever. Yeah, we can do.
Excuse me.
Right now, we have no funds, right?
Correct. There are no
Until we set up,
drainage.
until we establish an actual maintenance unit, which we can do, that would be for maintenance down the road. until we establish that, we really don't, we can't pay it out of anything else, so. But there are things we could possibly do. Help with the project.
Have you put any engineering costs, project projections together for this? Or not in terms of engineering, but in terms of construction?
Yeah, we have a preliminary cost, I think, that we put together. It was about 75,000 for just the culvert portion. And then another 50 for the four-bay area. And that's all dependent on, obviously, final specs, materials, excavation, all that. But the permitting timeline would be, the permitting of this project could take a while, so I think in Chad's interest, and the Lake Association's interest, it'd be great to be able to start on that permitting sooner than later if.
Yeah, I mean, this is the house, we would have one it done after season, so any off season, not during summer. Because of, am I right on that, Scott? That's high traffic area, right? So it's not something we want to do in 4th of July week by any means.
During the 4-H fair.
Or during 4-H fairs, we want to be done off season.
Early spring or late fall.
Right.
Corps of Engineers is probably the longest, timeline of getting things approved with them. So you've got plenty of work within the water body.
Okay.
Well, and I'll mention if it is a county regulated drain for the culvert replacement, probably not for the actual in-lake stuff, but for the culvert replacement, the drainage board surveyor involved. Depending on how involved you want to be, you may have the option to use that CA 368 process for permitting rather than doing the full process, which could kind of smooth and shorten that timeline a little bit by getting identical earlier. I'm not sure how long the stream length here is. If it's less than 10 miles, then it may actually not even need a floodway permit if it's going through that process.
I think it stops. Yeah. Does it stop at when it goes underground?
It's usually however it's shown on whatever the USGS typically is. So
I think we looked into that as a fish package project, and it didn't qualify because the length wasn't.
okay. So in that case, it would still need the permit, but you'd still get that side of it. You get all the conditions before you. So,
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Michelle, we schedule or I'll look at doing that.
He pretty much has the watershed delineated, so we can just pick up all the parcels, the people that are in there and get your notices ready, get a surveyor's report or whatever, and then we can come back in for possible assessments. I guess I don't think it'd be real high.
Okay.
Since you are gonna be the primary
Right.
person paying.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we want to make sure, you got something there that kind of keep it going here.
Yeah, and for us, once you get a surplus of 4 years, it'd be just
Right.
like, you would just stop collecting on.
Right.
I did have a question though, too. I know you kept mentioning 12x6 box culvert, and I keep seeing a 12x4 on that.
Oh, I may have just missed it.
Okay.
12x6 may not be, I'd have to look back at that. Yeah, might be too tall of a bridge.
Okay.
So I got one heartburn with all this. If we don't, we're still only taking care of the outlet. We have not done anything to identify, almost need an audit on really where all this water's coming from through there. Because it comes under 69 and hits there. And all the water that comes from here, truly, you look at this as a regulated drain, I think all the property on the east side of 200 West and all that ought to be part of this drainage.
Well, they are part of it, right? They are.
They pay into, there's a different watershed where it cuts off, the ridge line cuts off right there.
So somebody needs to show me where that cuts off, because all the water I see goes along 200 West, goes towards 69 right there at the on-ramp, and it goes right underneath 69 and everywhere. They just redone all that. and it goes right over to the other side where it exits.
Part of your 505, the Fawn River one, that Jim did, but it also extends all the way over to Trine University. It's part of that Fawn River one watershed.
You see that?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know where the E. coli is coming from. I'm sure you guys.
Well,
Lots of guesses.
Wisconsin does testing every single year, and it's on their website. You can go back and look up. They have multiple points throughout that, all these ditch lines. They test out the center lake, and they go pretty far back on that.
no,
You know,
So all
their
that water
record.
runs toward Crooked Lake, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't
It
have much of
passes
a,
right through what we're talking about.
doesn't have much of a slope there. I think there could be some negative slope going back the other way to Center Lake at some point, but.
you're right. When it does drop down to.
You would know, yeah, you would know better than I
On the
would.
west side of, I will, whether it's any relevance or not too, I will tell you, we met with the Angola Parks Department too, who just purchased this here, this sliver, so that's that road going through there, and they're gonna turn this into a park as well
Sure.
too. So.
But that blue line there, I know once it gets up on 200, that runs north.
Yep.
It don't run south.
Now it runs north and goes right into, you're correct, it comes from the south and goes north.
So it didn't show the line going under 69, but it's there.
It
They just
is.
replaced it.
Yep.
Or relined it, whatever they did.
So what I hear you say overall is,
There's a lot of water that goes through there, and we're only looking at.
you'd like ditched upstream.
You know, when you're seeing that there's fish going through there, you know, when you just look at the short portion of it, I don't see where fish get in there, but when you look at the overall, yeah, okay, I can come from Center Lake, they can come from wherever to get to that portion.
Yeah, we didn't do an in-depth enough study to know if it's actually possible for fish to go all the way to Center Lake. The fish passable elements are definitely most beneficial along the open channel portion. So extending into the wetland area, it would be more of my concern because there's a lot of nutrient there for baby fish.
Yeah, the only fish passage area would be in that wetland because, you know, as you pointed out, when it gets under our county road there, it goes around, it's quite steep, then the fish are not gonna be running up there. I don't think there's any salmon swimming upstream there.
Yeah, you're
Possibly, I don't know. We have some trout maybe that might, I don't know.
So Greg, you thinking that needs to be a bigger basin?
It is. We just haven't identified it. It's a huge basin.
What's identified, just identified the end where it comes in.
So is that particular basin that stops at 69 there, crosses 69?
Fawn River one, yes.
So
You can see where the plat was outlined in blue right there,
Yeah.
or red.
So why
That's-
can't that be extended?
Then you can invite all those people for the hearing as well.
From what we could tell, it's really more of major rain events, say 25-year or more, that you're really getting a lot of hydraulic connection between all those points. That ditch that runs north-south,
Right there along
south of 69, yeah,
Right here,
that portion is very flat, and I don't know, you would know better than I would.
water runs through it all the time.
It does stay.
The whole story there.
And we kind of did not clean that portion yet, just because it is flat. It doesn't really need it that much. You know, we went in through Peachtree Plaza and all the way back to Center Lake. It's all been cleaned just within the last couple of years, so. The last portion was just done to Center Lake. A month ago or so, Greg? Yeah.
Greg, when you cross 69 there, what basins exist on the other side?
Just Parkside, I think.
talking about on this side.
Yeah, but there's any other watershed basins, which I don't believe there are, just
That
outside.
path over here.
Everything stops at 200.
So, yeah. Nothing in here. Next closest one.
But none of that would likely be draining to that particular ditch. The basins probably need to be extended across 69
Large area.
and take up whatever's draining towards that.
You really, really need to check all your elevations and prep stuff too, I'm sure, just to see if that's really truly going all the way into.
So could we do an audit of that area to see which way all this water's going?
You need to hire an engineer.
Is that worth doing?
Depends on how big you want the area to be for the assessment.
Something's already getting assessed, it's just wouldn't be paid into the, assessment for that section going into,
To clean out a maintenance trap that needs done every 5 years,
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what they're trying to collect for, something that's gonna need maintained about every 5 years. Maybe get some money down too, to actually start the construction of it.
I'm excited to do it. Think about. I mean, this, it will help, but it's at tail end. I don't like to fix the problem at the tail end or try to address it up front.
What portion of that, Jim, did you say has been dipped?
Sure, so basically, try to go over a little bit more if you would. Or to the south, basically from, where's Peachtree Plaza at? Is this it right here, Greg? Yes. So basically from right here, we did that about 2 years ago. Came in through here, and then just in the last month and a half, we stopped right here. So that's all been done from Center Lake all the way through. Now the portion along 200, we're waiting till the roundabout gets done and possibly clean it then.
Right.
Because the road will be shut down. But again, that always kind of stays, and I know that's kind of controversial too, because once we clean that, then we're gonna muddy up water. And then we're gonna have certain people see that muddy water.
That's wide enough and deep enough.
And we may be able to just let it go too. We've had one complaint of a landowner through there who would like it cleaned, but a professional opinion from Wilson Excavating out of Edgerton, Ohio, looked at it and said, I'd really rather not do this. I'd rather not do it because we have nice tall grass and vegetation. And so that was his professional opinion. So that's kind of where I kind of held off and maybe have that conversation later on with our highway engineer when we do the construction now.
What's been done though, and then everything upstream then has been taken care of, other than if there's a whole bunch of additional flow going into Center Lake that creates greater flow, and that ditch going out.
It's not running. We just went out there last week and there's not a lot of water coming from. Greg, how deep would you say the water was? 6-8 inches deep, maybe coming out of Center Lake? Yeah. It's pretty minimal. And it's a fairly wide ditch.
anything else?
Nope. I'm good.
Got anything from us other than that? Proceed?
Yeah, if you proceed, would be great.
An issue with proceeding? Thank you. Yeah. All right, item number 3, the NIPSCO update. Anything new?
Yes, so this last Thursday, dated at 4:31 PM, we got a letter from the claims adjuster from NIPSCO. And it said, "Good afternoon. The issuance of the check has been approved and sent as instructed. Please allow 7 to 10 business days for delivery. Should there be any issues receiving payment, please contact at the number." And so we have been checking the mailbox daily, several times a day, and that was after too, that certain wording was adjusted on that. So I had a conversation with Mr. Pocock and his son. They were very happy, and had a conversation with the contractor that will be awarded that as well too. So we're just waiting on the check so we can get going. He did say though that there's 3 low areas in on the east side of Old 27, and I think Rick should confirm that too. They're starting to back up again. So our open spot is starting to collapse again. So as soon as we get that check, we'll coordinate that, and we hope and pray we can get that done before the spring planting season. So
That's good.
it should be great.
Then item number 4, letter of support from the Drainage Board.
Yeah.
The roundabout project.
Should have asked if the drainage board would do a letter of support that he can send in, I think for the federal funding.
Mhm.
He's trying to apply for, so I took the liberty and made up a letter that he had sent a template for.
First and second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
One on that, Will?
You don't want a discussion on that, Rick?
No, Rick was. I was. Is this the original?
Pardon?
Is this the original?
Yes.
Let's sign.
You all have a copy, kind of set it up a little bit long.
Ideal better shape.
Did you guys get a?
You might say copy.
There's other threads with all the other stuff, that's just the latest one.
Yeah, Pat?
Yeah, I do. So,
I can give you the whole entire deal. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anything else?
So are we just kind of tabling that right now then for Alpha Carpenter,
Let's look into,
kind of get the assessment schedule?
let's get the assessment schedule. And, sort of-
but on the larger scale.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be a lot. For me.
You got 3 o'clock.
I do. Yeah, all right.
I'm not part of this joint. Right?
No, you're not, so we are in recess.
Yep.
I might have to walk around next week, we have.